to POV Italian Cooking, where you see cooking from my point of view. Today we're going to do something real quick. Well, I'm on this hummus kick. I'm eating tons of hummus right now. My wife found this nice Greek restaurant and we keep going there. So I'm going to make hummus. And now I know your first thing you're going to ask is, that's not Italian. Well, it's Mediterranean, same spice palette. We're going to cheat a little bit. We're going to put Tuscan olive oil in it, so that way I can call it Italian. But we're going to use some Bellucci, the Tuscan PGI extra virgin olive oil. So let's get started and see how this turns out. Alright, let's take a quick look at the ingredients for our hummus. Again, we're making Italian hummus because we're putting Tuscan olive oil in it. So that's how I'm going to get away with this. You start with 4 cans of chickpeas. You want these drained and rinsed. We're going to use a generous 1/3 cup, which really means more than 1/3 of a cup, of tahini. Now what tahini is ground sesame seeds. You can find this in the Mediterranean section of most good grocery stores. We're going to use, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 cloves of garlic, just whatever we feel is right. We are going to use 1/2 to 2/3 teaspoon of cumin powder. We're going to use the juice from half a lemon and 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. What we're using today is a Bellucci Tuscan olive oil. And then of course we always salt and pepper. So I'm going to go ahead and get our cloves of garlic kind of minced up and kind of get things rearranged here, and then we'll get started. Let's get started on our hummus. Now this is going to be interesting to see if I can get all these chickpeas into my food processor. For those that think, gee, my store doesn't have chickpeas. Well, look for garbanzo beans. They're the same thing. They're one and the same. Oh yeah, this might take forever to get those to get through the food processor. All right, so chickpeas in. Next thing that goes in is the generous 1/3 cup of our tahini. Now with your tahini, it settles. If you can see here that it settles really bad. So you really need to stir it. Stir, stir, stir. Okay, we're back. It took me forever to stir this tahini. This stuff must have been sitting on the shelf at the store forever. Now I have my 1/2 cup measuring cup here, but I only need 1/3 plus. We'll say a generous 1/3. So boom, we'll call that a generous 1/3, which is creeping up on 1/2. Pour that into the food processor, which will take forever to process all this because that sucker sit clear full, and I've never used my processor when it was this full, so this ought to be interesting. Next, our garlic. Again, I've got 4 cloves of garlic, give or take. We'll kind of sprinkle that throughout. Let's go ahead and do our salt and our pepper. I'm gonna put some salt in now. Then we'll salt it again later to taste. Some pepper. Now it looks like I'm putting a ton of pepper in here, but actually I'm not. This pepper grinder is terrible. We want 3 to 4 tablespoons of olive oil. Now this is a 2 tablespoon measuring spoon, so I'll fill this bad boy up twice. Riveting video to watch somebody pour olive oil into a measuring cup. All right, so there's that. Next is 1/2 to 2/3 cumin, depending on your taste buds. So there's 1/2, and I'm going to go shy of 1/4 here. There we go. There's our cumin. Next is the juice from half a lemon. Let's cut our lemon. Let me get my lovely assistant Vanna over here just to hold this over, because I need one hand. I'm one hand short. So Miss Vanna White is joining us today from the Wheel of Fortune, spinning wheels and holding strainers. Not really, it's my wife Vicky. So juice from half a lemon. Alright, I had to break away and wash my hands real quick. I had a little cut on my hand, and boy, lemon feels good in cuts. Alright, top on the food processor. We're just going to keep doing this until it gets smooth. I'm just going to turn the sucker on and let it go, but just keep doing it and doing it and doing it until it gets smooth. I've been going at it here for 5 minutes or so, kind of it boils down to my food processor is not big enough. I put too much in here. Now it was really dry, so I put a little bit more olive oil in here, and then I added probably a tablespoon or two of water. It's starting to get smooth. This is going to take a little bit, so I'm just going to keep pulsing away. Actually, I'm not hitting pulse. I'm just turning it on and letting it go for a minute or two. Probably should have used my blender. I have a Ninja blender. It would probably be done by now. I'm thinking real hard about going to that. But the more I get it blended, the more it kind of settles in there. This has got a really good consistency. If you don't like the consistency, if it's too dry, add a little water, add a little more olive oil. Alright, I'm gonna pulse it again. I'm gonna get this going a little more and we'll be back. So I'm still fighting this damned food processor. I got pissed and I just took half of the beans out of it. So now I'm just trying to get it smooth, get it blended out. While I'm doing this, I hear I can look over and the cat's hacking on the floor. It's been a great day. So just keep going at it. It's still awful dry. Just keep going at it. Okay, I finally got our first batch done. Now what I did do is I added more oil, I added water, so if I ever do a cookbook or if I post this like recipes, I will adjust it. But here's what you want to do. You want to at least go with 6 tablespoons of olive oil for the whole batch. You want to add probably for the whole batch, I would say you're going to add maybe a 1/4 cup of water. If you have a 9-cup food processor, like I have a 9-cup, you're going to need to do this in 2 or 3 batches. This is pretty smooth, and I had to let it go forever and a frickin' day. So just be patient. I'm actually going to let this run one more time, and because I see some chunks in here. But the consistency is where I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this batch, get this out, do the next batch, and when I get all the batches done, if I'm still awake or if I haven't passed out or if the cat hasn't now crapped on the floor or something, we'll be back. Well, while it was blending, I went ahead and I cleaned up a little bit. I did add more olive oil and more water, so you know, the adjustment I would make, I would say you're going to have at least 6 tablespoons of olive oil in this recipe. Again, remember you started out with 4 cans of chickpeas. Oh man, that's good. And I probably would go with 2 to 4 tablespoons of water to give you a little bit of liquid. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this batch with this batch, clean things up, rearrange. We're going to come back and have our tasting. I plated up our homemade hummus. I put some tomatoes and olives on there just to get a little bit of color on it. Dog's got to go outside. Can't wait. So let's give this a try. Now hummus is a great base for a lot of different plates. You know, if you could do like a kind of like a gyro plate, anything with a nice plate of hummus.
It's good.
It turned out really good. Another great thing about making hummus on your own is you can control the consistency. I've been to some restaurants where I felt the hummus was too moist. Others where it was almost like a wallpaper paste, it was so dry. But you can kind of mess with it on your own, you know, as you're making it. Again, you know, the ingredients that I talked about at the very beginning, you need more oil, at least 2 tablespoons more oil in this recipe. Probably about 4 to 6 tablespoons of water as well. Might need to mix it up in 2 batches, depending on the size of your food processor. You probably heard the cat meow. He's being a butthead too, after yakking on the floor. But the hummus flavor is great. Very, you know, it's canned chickpeas. It kind of tastes really fresh. So, I think it's probably the lemon that kind of livened that up. At any rate, I'm rambling on at this point. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Snapchat. We don't do a lot of Snapchats. Every now and then we do. But most importantly, click the subscribe button on YouTube. We need subscribers. Email is povitalian@gmail.com. Our webpage is povitaliancooking.com or povitalian.com. Check us out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later, and ciao.